If you're doing this thing, if you are actually putting yourself out there, trying to create a successful and sustainable bodywork business where you serve other people and you're able to make a great living doing it, make no mistake about it. Creating your own massage or bodywork practice is some of the deepest and most profound personal growth work you will ever do. Welcome to Do It With Intention, the podcast for massage and bodywork therapists. I'm your host, Mindy Totten, a mentor and coach for bodyworkers who want to turn their passion for the work that they do into successful businesses that they love, all without burning out or selling out. For the last 15 plus years, I've created a successful 6-figure craniosacral therapy practice in a small city in coastal North Carolina. Over those years, I've met so many skilled, big-hearted therapists with great hands who were struggling to make their bodywork businesses work for them, not because they weren't terrific therapists, but because they didn't know how to make the business side of their practices work. It became my mission to help other massage and bodywork therapists build practices that support not only your soul, but also your bottom line. On the Do It With Intention podcast, we'll dive deep into what it actually takes to build and to sustain a profitable massage or bodywork business. We'll have honest conversations about what really works and what doesn't as you create the ideal practice for you. After all, you do great work in the world and you deserve to make a great living doing it. But you've got to be intentional about it, not only in your modality, but in your business too. That's how bodyworkers do it with intention. Hey there. Welcome to episode 4 of the Do It With Intention podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something that is so critical to you building a successful massage or bodywork practice, and that is getting over your fears about marketing yourself. And I've said this time and time again, but I want to start this episode. I'm going to end this episode with the same thing, and I want you to actually even write this down. Because marketing can be so scary, sales can feel so gross and pushy and blah. I want you to write this down. The people who you can serve with the work that you do are just waiting for you to get over your fears around marketing yourself. I want you to remember that as we talk today about what you can do to get over those fears. The people who you can serve are waiting for you. They need the work that you do. They need the help that you can give them to reach their health and wellness goals. So they are waiting for you to get over your fears around sales, around marketing, around putting yourself out there. Because we are basically skilled practitioners. We're artists, really. If you think about it, it's just like an artist. When an artist creates something, they put their creation out into the world. And that's a really, really vulnerable place to come from. You, as a bodywork therapist, are like an artist. You've created this practice. You have the skills. You are developing your knowledge. You're developing the wisdom in your hands. And when you put that out into the world as an offering, this is the thing I do. Here it is. I'm giving it out into the world. And you hear nothing back. That's a really, really scary, vulnerable place to be. And so it's important that you recognize, it's not just, I'm really good at this. I'm just going to, if you build it, they will come. Then it just doesn't happen that way. I mean, you have to recognize that it is scary to put it out there. It is vulnerable to basically put a piece of yourself out into the world and say, hey, world, here it is. Do you want anything to do with this? Because sometimes people will say yes. Sometimes people will say no. Sometimes, most of the time, people will just ignore you. And it's, as I said, it can be a really vulnerable place. I want you to remember Brené Brown. She talks about daring greatly. The people who really make something of their lives, really make a contribution to the world, are those people who are willing to get into the arena. And even though, it can be scary and you can be knocked down and you can lose, perhaps, you are actually in the arena doing the thing. And that's what I want you to encourage you to do. No matter how scary it is, get into the arena, do the thing, put your business together, put your offerings out to people. And even though it's scary and vulnerable, you can then create a wonderful business. Nobody is going to come to you for the wonderful work that you do if nobody knows about you, if nobody has any idea that you even do this thing. So take a tip from Brene Brown. It's not about the naysayers. It's not about the people going, oh, I can't believe, you tried that and you failed. What a loser. You are the person who is going into the arena, daring greatly, and getting over those fears about marketing yourself. Because I say this a lot to people I work with, both in the Bodywork Project and in one-on-one private mentoring, that having your own business, your own massage or bodywork business, particularly, any kind of business, but particularly bodywork or massage business, is some of the most profound and deep personal growth work that you will ever do. Because it's basically like a mirror. You put the thing, that you're creating out into the world, and it's like a mirror back to you. And all of a sudden, all of your insecurities, your fears, the things that you dread, the things that you think that maybe you're not so good about, your underconfidence, all of that comes bubbling to the top of your awareness, right? And what you end up doing, if you're like me, right? You say, oh my God, I suck. This is too hard. I'm not doing it. Well, of course you don't suck. Right? You just need some help and support on this business side of your practice. It is some of the most profound, professional, personal work that you will ever do. Now, we're getting ready to start early enrollment for the Bodywork Project here. And so I've been talking to a lot of people who've been contacting me, with interest in the program. How can it help me? Can it help me? And I've been getting to talk with so many wonderful, skilled practitioners. And here's some of the things that I'm hearing from these therapists when I ask them why they're struggling with their marketing and their promotion. The first thing I hear over and over again is, I'm not bad at marketing or selling things or promoting things for other people. I just can't do it for myself. And this one can be tricky because, you didn't get into this business to be a marketing powerhouse. You got into it to help people. And you're going to need, I said and, not but. You got in it to help people, and you're going to need to pull up your big girl pants, step into your power, and be the pro and CEO of your practice that we've been talking about on these last few episodes. You're not helping anyone if you go out of business. And what we can do is we expect things sometimes to happen too quickly. So on this first part, I want to talk to you about the know, like, and trust factor. You need to give people a chance to get to know you and the work that you do, to like you. And that doesn't mean like, oh, everybody has to like me. It's more like, does this person resonate with me? Do I feel a connection with this person? And then the trust factor. Give people a chance to trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, that you're going to be there for them, that you're going to show up for them, that you're going to be consistent. And that takes some time. And we bodywork therapists, we read this stuff online about, oh, you should do X, Y, Z, and then all these people will come into your practice and boom, 2 weeks in, you've got this full practice. And it just doesn't work that way. And I wanted to share with you a story that really makes me cringe when I think about it today. But I was reading that online stuff too, just like you are. And at the time, it was all about, the law of attraction, that you can just magically manifest all of this stuff if you just have the right mindset. So I had just moved to Wilmington at the time. And as I've said before, I didn't know hardly anyone. I knew my realtor, of course. And so a couple months after we got here and I had opened my practice, she had, a customer appreciation holiday party thing. And I was all into that mindset thing then. Okay, if I just do the law of attraction and believe that it will happen, then everything will happen. And, here are going to be a bunch of people at this party. I'm going to believe that they're all going to be interested in me and want to come for, at that time I was doing massage. They want to come for a massage because I had donated, a free a free hour session for, I think she had a raffle going on or something for charity. So I donated that. And I was like, oh, everyone's going to hear about that. And then they're going to come and talk with me. I'm embarrassed to even say it, you guys. When I say it out loud now, it's like, oh, you're such a fool. But this is what I thought. They're all going to come over and talk to me. And so I want to be ready. I want to open to the universe and be ready for all of the goodwill and abundance that's going to come my way, right? So what I did, this is so embarrassing. What I did at this Christmas party is I brought my credit card machine. And you guys, this was before the days of, a square or, a stripe thing that you can just swipe a card with your phone. This was, those giant clunky credit card machines where you put the little carbon paper form in and you're just like a back and forth as you run the credit card. So I had this giant thing with me. I brought a whole bunch. Oh gosh, I can't even say it. Like, I'm embarrassed. I brought a whole bunch of those carbon forms. So I had this giant machine, a package of these forms, and I come bopping into this Christmas party where I know nobody. And at the end of the night, I was crushed. I was so disappointed. I felt like such a rotten business person, a terrible person, because of course, nobody had come up and talked to me about my massages, and nobody was handing over their credit card to buy gift certificates or to set up sessions with me. And the reason is because they did not have the time that's required to get to know me, to like me, or to trust me to set up an appointment. So I share that story with you, not to embarrass myself so much, but just because it is so important that you put yourself out there and that you give the universe, if you want to call it that, you give things time that they need to start to percolate and to bubble, and you don't expect immediate results because immediate results are not going to happen. But if you don't start today, those results are going to be put off even longer. Another thing that's important to talk about is conversion rates. And, I talk about this a lot. I've done a whole episode with conversion rates. But for right now, just remember that a good conversion rate, y'all, like a really high conversion rate is 50%. And that means that of 2 people who come to see you or who hear about you, one of them is going to become a client. That's a really, really high conversion rate. So what that means is the other 50% are not going to become clients. So there's no way that you can have, you give out 10 freebies and 10 people come in to see you. It's just not realistic. So give people a chance to get to know you, to like you, and to trust you. That will take a little bit of time. And then also be realistic about what your expectations are. And if you want a little bit more on conversion rates, I'll put a link into a blog that I wrote about it so you can go back and just have a sense of what is a strong conversion rate, what are the techniques and the tactics that I can use to get the best possible conversion rates for my business. All right, the second thing that I've been hearing from a lot of therapists who I've been talking to about early enrollment for the Bodywork Project is they say, I don't want to feel like a slimy salesperson. They always say a used car salesman. I don't want to feel like a used car salesman. And I totally get that. But what ends up happening is that you do a disservice to your clients. So they don't have a plan. They don't know what to do when your clients come to see you. So we're not talking now about getting new people in. We're talking about once people actually come to see you, what do? Right? I've heard so many like, oh no, I never tell people a plan because that would be pushy and I don't know what's best for them. That is so off base, y'all. When somebody comes to see you, they are looking to you to be the expert. And a story that I'll share with you again this is not quite as embarrassing as the first story, but a story that I'll share with you from my own experience is when I went to get some support around some issues that I was working with. I went for EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And we had the first session, I talked with this therapist, I liked her, and I asked her at the end of the session, how many times do you think I'm going to need to come in to start seeing some changes, to start seeing some results? If she had said the thing that so many body workers say, that I used to say, which is, oh, just trust your body, trust the process, you'll know when to come back in, I would have been really irritated, you guys. I would have been like, no, I don't know when to come back in. That's why I'm asking you. You're the professional. You're the professional. I want a timeline. I want an idea of how long this is going to take to get to the results that I want. And she was great. I said, how long do you think it'll take? She said, you're going to need about, I think, between 4 and 6 sessions to start to see if this is a therapy that will be good for you. I was like, great. I'm in for 4 to 6 sessions. Now, what ended up happening, of course, is I ended up going for like 2.5 years, right? But I didn't know that at the time. Once you get into certain things, and this will happen for body workers too. People come in and they say, oh, my neck hurts. And you say, great, you work with their neck. But then you realize it's underlying symptoms underlying causes for their symptoms that'll take a little bit longer to work out. So what I suggest for you is not to be afraid of giving your people who come in the first time an idea, a program, some kind of a timeline that they can look at and say, oh, okay, this is what I'll need to do to get some results, and it doesn't have to be exact. You're not being pushy. You're not saying, I'm not going to work with you unless you make an appointment every week for the next year. It's nothing like that. But in your professional opinion, you have the expertise, you have the skills, you've worked with people before. In your experience, and that's what you can say too, in my experience, it will take X number of times to get to the root of your migraines, your headaches, whatever you're working on. And I suggest that you come in, whatever it is, once a week for 3 weeks, and then we'll reevaluate. That's not pushy. That's not slimy used car salesman. That is being of service to the people who come into you. They will get better results if they follow that timeline that you give them. We all know that one time is not enough to get to the root of most problems. Okay. The last thing that I hear from people, and this is really kind of a mindset thing, and I want you to think about this heading into the fall and into the holidays. People will say, therapists say to me, the work that I do, the skills that I have, it's a gift, and I feel guilty charging for my gift. And I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I know this isn't particularly a popular stance that I take, but I'm going to push back a little bit. I don't believe that it's a gift. I believe that we can be gifted in, anything that we do, but it's not a gift that's like handed down from above and that, that we had no part in. So let me give you another illustration to explain what I mean. I think about artists, painters. So think about somebody like Picasso. He obviously was a gifted painter, obviously. And even though he had this, what you might call a gift, he went to school, he practiced. He developed his skills. He created over and over again. He took that gift and made something of it, made something that he could contribute to the world. And if he said, no, this is just a gift. You don't have to charge for the painting. You don't have to pay me for these paintings because it's just a gift. He wouldn't have been able to take care of himself to continue to create and serve the world in the way that he was meant to serve our world. And it's the same way with body workers. We may have some kind of gift that makes us, you guys, I want to say the word better, and better is not the word that I'm thinking of. We may have certain intuitive skills that can make us better therapists than, the person next door or the person who's trying or the person we were yesterday. But those gifts must be developed. We've gone to school. We continue to continue our education so that we get better and better, so that our skills improve, so that we become better therapists. And if we say, there's no charge, or I feel badly charging, anything above whatever, $30 or something, because this is just who I am, it's a gift I have, we're not coming from a full cup then. We're not taking care of ourselves so that we can continue to develop our skills, to develop our expertise and serve more people and create a better life, not only for others that we serve, but also for ourselves. So think about that as you're heading into this holiday season. As I said, we're talking about gifts a lot. It's not that you cannot charge or you're a bad person for charging or you're wrong for charging a living wage. That is part of the energy exchange. That is part of serving other people, is serving from a full cup and also serving by example. If you are taking care of yourself and you're healthy and you're strong and you've got, a solid foundation, you're not constantly worrying about paying your bills, you are going to be a better therapist. You're going to be more present for your people. And then they are going to get better results. So I want to leave you today with some action steps that you can take to get past these fears so that you can help the people that you most need to help, who most need the work that you have to share. But the thing is, your next step, what you do, depends on where you are in your journey creating a successful massage or bodywork business. So if you're just starting out in your business, your next steps are going to be quite different than someone who's, say, ready to hire another therapist. It can be confusing knowing what steps to take, but don't worry, I have got you covered. I've created this quiz that's called the Bodyworker Clarity Quiz, and there's a link to it in the show notes. You can take this quiz, just answer a couple of questions, and then it will tell you where you are on this journey. And the way that I've divided it up is you're starting out, you're a passionate body worker, and then you move into a savvy body worker, and then to a pro and CEO. And depending on where you are on that timeline, I've created a downloadable guide for each one of those that will tell you the next best steps to take on your journey to creating this sustainable business. So look for that in the show notes. And remember, as I said at the beginning, and I'll say over and over and over again, I want you to really take this into your hearts. The people who you can serve, who need the work that you have to offer, are just waiting for you to get over your fears. Hey, thanks for coming on this journey with me today. I know what it takes to make time for something like this in your busy day, and I so appreciate that you tuned in and listened all the way to the end. If you need them, we've got all the links from today's episode in the show notes that you can find over at mindytotten.com/podcast. That's Mindy Totten, TOTTEN.com/podcast. If you really enjoyed today's conversation, I'd love to send you a special sticker to remind you that bodywork therapists do it with intention. All you have to do is take a moment to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Once you do, just send a quick email with a screenshot of your review to hello@mindytotten.com. Be sure to include your best mailing address, and I'll get this fun sticker out to you pronto. And if you're loving the show, make sure you subscribe so that you can download each episode as soon as it comes out. Okay, that's it for today. It's my pleasure and my privilege to be with you on this journey. I'll see you next week, same place, same time. Until then, get out there and do it with intention.